Ghost of Tsushima is one of the most beloved games to have come out in the last 5 years or so. I played it on release and yeah, I thought it was pretty good, but seeing the hype around the game was kind of shocking since I didn't really click with it as much as other players did. I blitzed through the main story, skipping a lot of side content and rushing from one map marker to the next. And after I was done, I just wrote it off as another Ubisoft style open world game with its most unique selling point being its setting. But there is obviously something different about it, right? Otherwise it wouldn't be so well regarded. So last week, as of writing this video, I bought the game again, determined to read between the lines and really understand why Ghost of Tsushima is held in such high regard, and I think I get it. You're supposed to just live in this world, experiencing the sights and exploring at a slow pace. There's a reason why your horse only walks or trots by default. The developers really want you to just slow down and take it all in. The lack of a compass or minimap really drives this message home. You follow the wind or these birds to get to your next objective. I mean, sure, you could open your map every 5 seconds and highlight the closest question mark and then dash straight there. And that's what I did back in 2020, by the way. But it feels like every system in this game is demanding that you don't do that. The island of Tsushima is one of the most detailed open worlds I've ever experienced, and it honestly hurts to think that my first experience with the game was so rushed. Like, I'm 20 hours in and still on Act 1, I just keep stopping to take in the sights. You see, up until about a year ago I had this mentality that I need to rush through every game I bought, not only to avoid spoilers but also because my time's limited and I want to play as many games as I can. But that's not the right way to do it. Final Fantasy Rebirth came out almost a year ago and it completely changed my perspective on video games as a whole. There were a few reasons why I took my time with it. Firstly, having played the original, I knew about the game's tragic ending and I was absolutely dreading it. Secondly, the game was so much fun and I just didn't want it to end. But finally, the game was designed in a way where it really encouraged exploration. Like, almost every side quest in the game had some kind of tangible, substantial reward that actually made doing everything worth it. And I really did take my time. I mean, I was very busy, so it took a long time anyway, but 1 month and 80 hours later when the credits rolled, I just had this empty feeling. I don't think I would have felt that if I skipped all the side content and reached the credits in half the time. Obviously it helps quite a lot that the side content in Rebirth is so good. There are games that have terrible side quests that really bring the experience down, and it's a real shame when that happens. But thanks to Rebirth, I had this renewed sense of appreciation for the art of game and world design, and I had this really strong urge to replay some of the games that I otherwise rushed through when they came out. Games like The Witcher 3, Cyberpunk, Red Dead Redemption 2, and of course Elden Ring have some incredible optional content that rival the main story in other games. Like, damn, I've always liked The Witcher 3, but really immersing myself and just exploring, talking to NPCs and actually interacting with the world elevated it into my all-time favourites list. I no longer dread the thought of starting a new massive RPG and instead get excited at the possibility of losing myself in the game. The way a game feels and makes me feel is almost as important as the way that it plays. It never used to be like that. I used to wonder how people could possibly spend 100 plus hours on a first playthrough of Elden Ring or Cyberpunk, but I get it now. It's about immersion, existing in these game worlds as opposed to just experiencing them. And as games become prettier and more detailed and more complex, I think it will be much easier to do that. I honestly think that being slower and more patient in games has helped me be a bit more patient in real life too. I said a bit, I am notoriously impatient, so it hasn't helped out much, but you get my point. It's almost taken me back to when I was a kid and I used to make up stories of my own when I played games. And my imagination isn't quite at that level anymore, but I do find myself diving into the role that I'm playing. Getting back to Ghost of Tsushima, trotting around and walking as slow as I can, being a samurai and just thinking like, would Jin be running everywhere and ignoring every Mongol camp? Well, he is in a rush to save his uncle, but you get my point. Living that samurai fantasy is the point of the game. So the next time that you boot up a new big RPG, I urge you to take a step back. Don't worry about seeing the story through and just really soak the game in. You might come to appreciate it a lot more than you initially thought you would.